Howdy, everybody. It's time to work on our Peacock journal. Wait for a few minutes. This is Playing with Paper. My name's Lois. And today we're going to bind the journal. Get my camera set up. Need a better setup, huh? All right, let me make sure that you're all in frame. Okay. I think we're going to put this on the front. I debated what we're going to put on the front. Let me scoot this over a little bit so you can see the whole peacock. Wiggle, wiggle. All right. I have this sequin peacock, and I decided not to use it because it was so long, but I was playing around with it. And I think if I carefully, it's just got like a netting on the back. But I think if I'm very careful and I glue it as I go, I can take this tail feathers and scoot it to where it would be something like that. The light's kind of glaring off of it. It looks very dark in the picture, but it's actually very vibrant. But I think that that will actually fit in, and our cover is this size. So I think with some playing, and I may not use all of these little feathers in the tail, but I think with some playing that I could possibly get that on the cover. And I think that would be outstanding. She wanted, what Robin wanted was this kind of a mixed media for her cover. So it would actually go on this. So you really wouldn't see this background on the front cover. You would see it more on the back cover. And then on the inside of the book, when you flip open the page, this is, yeah, this is what you're gonna see. So set that aside. What we've got going on, and we'll put this peacock on as soon as we get the book bound. So what we've got going on is I have cut my two front panels, and somewhere in here there should be the book bind. There it is. There's the book spine and my template for all of my signatures. There is 8. Yeah, there's 8 signatures. And so I went through, let me turn these around. I went through and I've already paired up my 8 signatures to make sure that the corresponding page is going to match what is inside the book. Maybe not quite match, but they have the similarity colors or the similarity patterns. I tried really hard to match the colors, which in some of them was really hard. Like this one was very hard to match. And some of these are blank because we still have the napkin to put, a couple napkins to put in someplace. But I think for the most part, each one looks pretty good. Just some of them were harder to match than others. So we've got that all done, and I tried to make sure that a really thick watercolor paper was on the outside of each signature to give it more stability, and I tried to make sure that a cardstock piece was the last one inside of each signature because we don't want the book to fall apart. So I was debating. I've been a little aggravated. I had these little Tim Holtz makes them, but these wasn't Tim Holtz. They were like little doorknobs that you screwed into the front cover of your book. And my plan was to take this stretchy cord and to where when she closed her book, the loop of this peacock feather elastic would just go over that doorknob and that would be her closure. I have tore my house apart, my craft room, looking for it. I can't find them. I don't know what I did with them. I even second guessed, did I order them or did I just think I ordered them? And I looked back, yes, I ordered them. So I don't know what happened to them. So what we're going to do is last night when I was doing the inside, and this was just a white heavy cotton, very thick, not like canvas. It's more like a brushed white denim type stuff. It's very thick. So while I was dyeing that, I had some, excuse me, seam binding. And I did this first one and I really wasn't, it only kind of half took and I wasn't really pleased with it. So I went back and I did one that was more greens, but the blues didn't show up and the greens didn't show up in this one. So what I decided to do is inside of the cover, I'm just going to use them both. I'll put them inside the cover and she can just tie a bow to close her book, and then she's got her green and her blue, and it's kind of a mixed media type of thing. Then to bind it with, I have this blue teal colored wax cording. I also have in the spine, and we'll get to this when we get close to doing that, I'll punch my holes for my signatures in here, but it's nice to have like a piece of muslin or book cloth. I've seen people use cheesecloth, but that's not real sturdy. But I like to put this on the spine to give that spine a little bit more stability. So I've got a little piece of that muslin to use that for. So without further ado, what did I do with my phone book? There it is. And I did find my ice pick that I use. So, open my book up. Who uses phone books anymore? You can get all that information online, right? And I kind of wanted to make sure that these kind of matched. I don't know if I got them off centered or not, but anyway. Well, actually, let's hold off on the phone book. First, we need to clip all these together to make sure that all the pages are seated in there correctly. So I've got a whole bunch of clips here. I'm going to make sure all my pages are where they need to be. And I know there was a couple of people the other day that was really wanting to know how to bind a book, how to bind a journal, just any journal. And so I did a really quick video, and I apologize. It was a very quick video. But it gave the gist of it. And if any of those people are watching this time, they're going to go, well, she didn't cover that. All right, so let me get this stuff out of the way. So when you're going through your signatures, because you have different size, like the watercolor pager is just a watercolor page is just a little bit bigger than the rest of the other pages. You know, your copy pages are just a little bit smaller. So I like to, some people just bring them all down. I don't like to do that because if you see, what did I do with it? If you see, here's the template where all the little holes are going to go. Does that show up online? That's how close the signatures are going to be. Maybe if I stick it there. Okay, so when you lay this down, your first signature is this far away. So if you have this page scooted all the way down, or the first stitches, it's barely going to catch that first paper of the first stitch of the copy paper, and you're going to end up tearing your paper. So your first row of stitches when you stitch these together is a little away from the edge. So I like to make sure that all my pages are centered. That way I know that they are going to get that first and last stitch. And this is also a good time as you're going through. None of these have it. Yep, there it is. This is also your last check to make sure that all of your stamping and words is right side up. Because believe it or not, where is it? Really love this paper. But as I was putting the signatures together, I realized this one's right side up, but this one is upside down. So it happens. You get in a hurry, you're not paying attention, you take a break in the middle of it, and whoops, you messed up. So this is your last check to make sure that everything's lining up before we stitch it in. And when we get it all lined up, we'll take some clips and we'll clip it. Now, some of these I rounded. I couldn't decide whether I liked it rounded, and I really think I do. And probably should have done that before I put all these together, but I didn't. And now they're all different sizes. So I'll have to go back through, and that's bad on me. Take a note. Round your corners before you put your signatures together, because there is no way I am tearing this all apart to make sure that they are all lined up, or that they're all corner rounded. I'd rather do it singly. But had I remembered, I would have done it as I was putting the book together. Okay. And that one's going to go, oops, slid on me. And that one's going to go there. Now I'm going to go through this section just to make sure that all of my words is right side up. Because if it is, I'm good. If not, then I need to change it right now. Okay, so now I've got this. So you stick your finger in here and put that just as close to that corner as you can, and then clip it. You want that to stay clipped. Whoops, that slid on me as I clipped it. You want that to stay clipped until you get it sewed into the book, into your spine. That will keep your papers from sliding. And then go over to this end, and I do both just to make sure that that is seated up in there nice and tight. There's no spaces where it's out like this, because that can cause your signature to go just a little wonky. So I push it in there just as tight as I can and clip it. Now, maybe if I was just doing a junk journal, that I really wouldn't care about it. I wouldn't be so particular. But this isn't a junk journal. And then as I'm putting them back in the stack, I want to make sure that they're exactly, because I've already picked how I want my layers to go. So I just make sure that they're going to get flipped over and put in there just right. So let me center that page and those two pages. That one. Let's center that one up a little bit. Put that one right there, and that's the center of that one. But before I leave, let me check and make sure that I don't have any writing going the wrong way. No. Looks good. All righty. So this one is ready to smoosh in there. Get it as tight as I can. and clip it. And this also makes it easier for when you're sewing it. It's not trying to slip away. It's right there. You can be pretty rough with it after that. After you got it clipped, it's not going to go anywhere. Clip it. Make sure that's seated in there and clip it. There we go. Alrighty, so the words are going that way. So this one goes this way. That's a nice bright paper. Has anybody noticed this Goosebumps spray kind of, it doesn't really stick to the paper, but yet it kind of grabs it. It's almost like a silicone plasticky spray. It's definitely very, very bright. And put that one there. So since the last video, I went in and, by the way, and did all of the texturing, all the stamping's done. I still have Peacock stamps to put in, but I wanted to get the book together before I put in that kind. These are just miscellaneous stamps or sentiments, verses. I like that one. Enjoy the journey. And this one is a tall one. Oop, slid on me. Okay. Let me make sure that these are all the right way. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to scoot that in there just as tight as I can. Put a clip in it. Put a clip in it, flip it over, and do this end. Okay. Make sure I'm putting that out right. It goes this way. And that one's got to come down. And that one goes up. That one comes down. I really like the way those two colors look together. Hello, Gwen. Thank you. All right, then I'm going to check and make sure that all my words are coming the right way. Because we don't want an upside down word in the book unless it was on purpose. Yeah, it looks good. I really like that. It just looks pretty. It's always nice when you do some project and you look at it and you go, oh man, that's really nice. I've already decided that I'm going to have to make me one similar to this because I really enjoyed the colors. These dark, rich colors, in case you're all wondering, was the dyes. Actually, it wasn't dyes. Hold on 1 second. I'll show you. There was some that was pearlescent. Yeah, both of these are. The Dr. Phil Martins that you can get at Hobby Lobby. And you're looking for the word pearlescent. And it's just, I used it just straight on watercolor paper. And if you notice, I don't know if this picks up. Gwen, can you see how sparkly this is? Does that show up? It's not a glitter. It's like a glimmer. There's like a glimmer mist in it. But that was actually in the ink, and I just wetted the watercolor paper and put it on there, dropped it on, and let it kind of soak and mix and mingle, and I really like the look of it. I think it's beautiful. Good, good. I was hoping that it showed up because it's just a really awesome stuff to play with. And it's not really expensive. I think it's like $3 a bottle. And literally on this, maybe use 10 drops because your paper's wet. So it goes a long ways. And I think most of them, I'd say 90% of the bottles I got was on that Hobby Lobby clearance sale. So I got them for like $1.50. So that made it an extra good buy for me. I will probably never use it all in my lifetime. Really love this one. I'm just in love with my paper. Life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful. Isn't that true? That is so true. When I get these together, I'll show you all of the, because as I was doing them, I was wiping off whatever stamp or stencil or paint I was using. That one's got a double, haha. That one's got a double fold mark. Let's put that back the way it's supposed to be. But I ended up with some really awesome, I just sprayed it, yeah, with water. It was just watercolor tablet, a cheap one at, actually a cheap one at Walmart's what I got. Whatever brand that is, it has the X's on it. Well, that one's got a double fold line too. But yeah, I just took my, you can use any kind of water bottle. This one was a Tim Holtz sprayer, and I really soaked the water. I have a plastic TV tray that I can sit there at my chair and do arts and crafts without having to worry about it getting in such a mess. But I just sprayed it down with water and I just started dropping it. If you've ever played with the Ken Oliver sprays, how you wet your paper. Oh no, there's one that's upside down. Oh, I really love that paper too. What to do? That's terrible. What does it say? The hardest part of moving forward is not looking back. I don't know. I think I'm going to leave it. I still got pockets to put in or corner tucks, so I might have to cover that one up because I really love this yellow, purple, brown, green color. So I'm going to leave it. All right, so there's all my paper lined up, checking to make sure all my words are right side up. Anyway, Gwen, you just spray it with water and you just drop it down, drop by drop, miscellaneous drops. Okay, all of those are correct. I don't know if you was here when I was showing the front cover, so I'll bring this down where you can see it. This, not front cover, this is the inside cover of the book. Now, this didn't spread together like it does on paper, but I did the same thing to this fabric. I got it wet and then dropped different drops of that ink onto here, and it's just a watercolor ink. It started together, but where the original drop was, it stayed. On this, it just bled all together and made it really cohesive. So it was the same technique, it just gave a different result on cloth. than it does on paper. Still happy with it though. I think these are the colors of her book. So I'm thinking that that is how I'm going to do my book. Let me get those papers shoved in that corner because we don't want this slipping and sliding at all. Uh-oh, am I out of clips? Oh, here's one more to finish this one. Originally, I was just going to do 5 signatures. And it was going to be 10 sheets per signature, and it just didn't work out. Let me grab some more clips. Let's see, there's one I can use. What have I got? 3 signatures left. Oh my gosh. So this one ended up having 8 signatures because 10 pages. When I put the signatures together, there was so many pages that it was literally poking it. There was no way to shove it all in. So I brought it down to, I believe there's 7 pages in each one of these signatures. And that just made it easier to handle. It'll look nicer. I just like it better. But I am gonna, these are too big. You don't really have a good grip. So what I'll do is let me get the cover started and then we'll sew these in and I'll use these clips for the rest of the pages. So let me set these to the side and show you the papers that I made, that I did while I was doing this project. So this is what I wiped off. No, these are just extras that didn't fit in the book. That's what it was. Yep. These were just extras, or ones that I found where the words were going opposite directions, like that one and that one, and that one and that one. And I love, love, love this paper, but when I turned it over, they're going opposite directions. I wasn't paying attention. But like I said, I'm going to do tuck spots. So I'll probably take this paper right here and cut it right here, and she'll have a corner tuck. So this will still get used. It just isn't going to be a page, which is me bad. And this one was going different directions, but I'll still use it. It just won't be a page. And here's my hand at drawing a peacock, the eye of a peacock. And I just decided that was almost vulgar, so I didn't use it. I just didn't like it. It was embarrassing. And I definitely didn't want it in a journal that I was giving somebody. So anyway, on with the show. Here is the white papers from me stamping and doing her book. And so I got free, not jelly prints, but kind of. They call them painty papers, where you wipe your stuff off, your stamps and whatever. So these will be cool to use in some other project. Or I can use some of it maybe in part of her book as corners, belly bands, and tuck spots. But I was really kind of taken aback by how cool these painty papers came out. It's like the start of something, and they're not, you know, completely usable as is. Like that one definitely isn't. This one looks kind of messy, but kind of cool. You know, if you was to do a journal page in a book, maybe. It's got possibilities. No, I am not giving myself credit for that peacock feather. It just looked vulgar. The more I looked at it, the more I giggled. Oh dear. So yeah, as I was just doing it, I just wiped all of my stuff off to clean off my stamp or my stencil, or these are just, I took my paintbrush and twisted it to try to get some of the paint off of it, and I came up with those Kind of looks like little roses. Several little birds. As I was cleaning off my stencil, it would come through and fill the stencil back up. So it was kind of cool. These are just papers that are left of stuff that we would normally just wash off in the sink or wash off in our paint cup, and or take the towel and wipe off our stencil. And so I was kind of like, cool, I just saved some paint. Plus I made all kinds of pretty stuff to do something else with. Gave me a head start, and that was quite a chunk of goodies that I wasn't expecting, and I thought I would try. It worked. All right, so here is this and this, and we're going to have to put this on the outside first. And this is what she chose. A mixed media type thing. That's what she was wanting her journal to be, was not only a journal, but as kind of examples of a mixed media project that she could look at and go, okay, I see how she did it, so she could do it herself. So now let me cut out some fabric. Let's see. I think I want this dot. It's going to be a little waste of fabric, but I think I want this dot right here in the center of my spine. I do. Wait a minute. Why is that spine smaller? Oh, that ain't going to work. We need to make that spine again a little bit taller. I suppose I cut this about the same size. Nope, I did that one right. Well, it's a good thing. And these are just papers. I didn't buy this specifically for this. These are the backs of paper pads. Let's see, is this one going to be long enough? Yeah, it is. All right, so let me cut this again. I don't know why I cut it so short. You just never know about me. You got to watch me. Now her spine, I think, is 2 3/4. Yep, 2 3/4. Because she has so many signatures. She picked out a lot of my little painty papers, my little jelly prints to put in there. And there's no set amount of space that goes in between each. How I did it, how I decided how big her journal was going to be. And this has always worked for me, is I set my journal down and take my ruler with the edges right here. See how much they're poofed out in space in between? And these are naked pages. They don't have any gems in them, no die cuts, no extra paper making belly bands or corners. So you got to keep that in mind. And I just stick my ruler down, and that comes out. These three here came out as 1 inch. And I figure that I'm probably going to add a 1/2 inch worth of stuff to it in between what I'm going to put in it and what she's going to put in it, because inside all the little pockets and everything, I plan on putting little tags and things. So I want room to grow. I think when I stuck this up here, I think hers came to like 2 1/4. So I allowed her a 1/2 inch of room to grow. And that's only because here's your book at rest without anything in it. As you add stuff, it's going to be this thick. So you want that extra room to grow, because you're not wanting your book to be, have you seen the journals where they sit like this, or just, here's a nice skinny spine, but it's gaping at this end. And you want your book to be able to sit nice and straight. So I gave her room to grow. All right, so let me cut this out. You never want the bigger scissors. You never want the spine to fit your book initially. You want that little bit of room to grow. So make sure this is the piece I was keeping. Oh, this is too short. Well, la-di-da-da. That's why. We may have to adjust where those little dots went. Yeah, they'll be all right. We're good. We're golden. All right, so I wanted that blue dot to kind of be in the middle there. And you need about 1/4 of an inch, and I just eyeball it. You know me, I don't measure anything. But you need that little space in between your front or back cover and your spine to give your book room to open up. And then you need to leave room on the outside, because what we're going to do is when we cut this out, it's going to be folded over. So you need, this needs to be straight. You need to have that space. There, that looks about even. And what I glue mine down with is fabric tack. So I'm actually taking this whole, basically this whole piece here, this first fold of fabric. Isn't that pretty? It's like a mixed media. I love it. I got it at a Hobby Lobby in Louisiana, but I can't remember the name of the town. Wasn't Shreveport. Can't remember. Anyway, I got it at Hobby Lobby, and they have that type of fabric. This is a canvas. They have this canvas on sale at least once a month. Oh, good. I can still see my blue dot. Now I'm going to cut this selvage strip off because we don't need it. And it doesn't make any difference how straight you are, because this is going to be underneath that polka dotted fabric. You'll see. So I'm not real careful. I'm trying to be careful, but I'm not being real OCD about hitting right on this line. I want to make sure there's no white. All right, and I'm going to keep this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it's cool. It's a selvage strip. I'll do something else with it. So, you know me, I don't throw nothing away. All right, so now do I have any preference on what is the top or the bottom, front or back? I'm liking this gold, although our peacock's going to go and cover most of it. So I think I want this for the back. So keep that there. Here's my blue dot I want. So I want to make sure that I am about center there. And what I put it down with is fabric tack. Somebody said you could get it at Walmart. I haven't looked yet. I get mine at Hobby Lobby because it's pricey. I don't know, like $8, $9. It's really pricey. But if you use your 40% coupon, then it's not quite so pricey. Of course, you can't do that at Walmart. All right, so go ahead and lay these down. About right there. And this stuff has an amazing tack. It grabs instantly. So you don't really have a whole lot of work time with it. So if you've never worked with it, my suggestion is take a piece of scrap fabric and a piece of scrap cardboard and play with it first before you actually do your project, so you know how fast the stuff actually grabs. And it is sticky as all get out. So make sure that you've got plenty of baby wipes to wipe your fingers, because you don't want this on the right side of your fabric showing up. And I think that's about right. I'm going to take my finger and I want to make sure that I get all the way to the edges. This is why you need the baby wipe. And it does have a little bit of a strong odor to it, but it does dry fast. It's a good tack, and I need more. Quickly. It has a good strong hold. It's not gonna, I've never seen it yet get yellow, which is something you don't want to happen with fabric because it's going to show through. But it does have a good odor to it, a good strong odor. Okay, so I think I'm all the way to the corners. Flip this over and center it between these two and burnish it down really hard. And on to my next piece. Don't be scared of fabric. It's just like a fabric piece of paper. You just cut it like you would paper. Oh, it comes out so slow. Okay, the lid's gonna have to come off. Okay. Now it looks like I'm putting a lot on, and you don't want to put too much on that it's going to soak through your fabric, but you do want to make sure that this board is completely stuck to your fabric. And it's really thick. It's kind of like clear tacky glue, only a whole lot tackier. It's not running like Elmer's glue or nothing like that. And slide this one right here, making sure that they line up. Give it a good rub. But I don't know if you can see the little, it's a very tacky glue. It's not a glue to work with that I care to work with. See, look at that. It even took to my wet wipe. However, to do a journal, you really want your parts that are going to be touched and moved around, especially with fabric. You want those to make sure that they are nice and stuck. But it is very, very tacky. And it seems to dry very fast, so I work very fast when I do this. But it does have a strong, like, alcohol, acetone type smell to it. Acetone. Yeah, that's kind of what it smells like. Acetone, fingernail polish remover. Oh, there's that piece of paper, that piece of my baby wipe. And flip this one over. And put the lid on that stinky stuff. Phew. Now let me sit here and scrub my fingers, because I don't want to get any of this on my fabric on the outside. I suppose you could take like what I should do probably is take a old gift card and cut it up in strips and use it as a paddle to smooth that all around so I wouldn't get it on me, but that would be too smart. Just saying. All right. So now, flip my fabric over, give it a good old rub down. Phew, that stuff is strong. All right, so I'm going to trim up these edges a little bit, because there's a lot of fabric and I don't need that extra bulk. All right, so when it comes to the corners, if you don't trim off your corner, when you go to fold it, you're going to have this big wad of fabric there. So what I like to do, and don't cut it clear to the corner, otherwise it's not going to cover. But I like to just trim my corner down to about like that on all four corners. That way when I do the fold, I'm not going to have that extra bulk at the corner. And there's no set amount that you have to have here at the edges, just enough to fold over. I know I don't want 4 inches of fabric, but look at there. All right, so now I'm going to cut this corner. And cut this corner. All righty. Now for the glue-in again. You know what I think I will try? Taking a piece of a gift card and using it as a paddle. There we go. We'll see if that works. In theory, in my mind, it should work, because I'm still picking off all this dried fabric glue. It is a bugger. It's even on the outside here. Well, do you think that might be why it's coming out so slow? What is that still doing in there? Huh. It ain't coming out either. Well. All right. And you won't need as much glue to pull these over. And I like to do my long strips first. So start up here and put a bead of glue going down, down, down. And it looks like I didn't quite, no. We'll have to hit that with a credit card. This corner. It didn't quite have the glue on it that it should. Hey, look at that. That was so much easier. Taking that little credit card, little strip. You just never know what you think of. And I'm going to slide it underneath here because that is coming loose. It's like hot glue with its little strings. All right, so fold this over. Give it a good burnish. Okay. Flip it over and do this side. Oops. Well, thank you, Gwen. I actually think, I honestly, maybe Lindsay, the food crafter, I don't know that she uses it for this. I think she uses little strips of credit cards to rejuice up her ink pads. I wasn't quite sure that it would work with this really sticky glue, but it seems to. So I'm happy. All right. I was afraid that it was going to be too sticky to do it. But it seems to work just fine. Okay, make sure that's nice and down and start to work on the corners. Wow, that stuff has a very strong smell. All right, so I'm going to fold this in and then fold that over. Whoops, didn't quite get it. Put some glue there. Fold that in. And then, there we go. Maybe that's what I need, is some more glue on this corner on the actual fabric to be able to fold that in. There we go. And burnish it down. And that didn't seem to. This is how fast that glue dries. That did not stick because I didn't get it down in time. I was messing with the corner. There we go. But once it sticks, it is absolutely strong. And that one I think needs a little bit more glue. Okay. Work on this end. There's a glue booger. Better get it out of there. It'll create a bump. We don't want a bump in our fabric. Okay. So fold that in. Make sure it's down nice and tight. Even with the card, I still got glue on me. I'm a messy crafter. All right, so now this is the piece of muslin that we're going to put right here in the spine. And I want it to be a little bit shorter. So let me cut a little bit off this edge. About yay much. Don't ask me how much. I don't measure. Which, believe it or not, has only got me in trouble a couple times. About like that. Because this other spotted fabric is actually going to go over this. You're not going to see this, but what I want that there is to give this a little bit of security and a little bit of stability. And let me pull these loose threads out because I ain't wanting them to show. Okay. And guess what? Fabric tack again. So I know, to make it easy on myself, I know that my fabric is going to here on both sides. What I think I'll do is do this middle piece first. Okay. I better hurry because it's starting to get goobery. Doesn't take long, I tell you. And burnish it down nice and tight. Now I can go over here and do the smaller strip. And pull this back and do this strip. Okay. Wipe off my hands, grab my other fabric. We'll trim it down to size. Now this fabric, you will see the edges. So let me grab my cutting board and my rotary cutter, because we'll do that one the correct way, where it looks nice and straight. Because we want these edges to be straight and not crooked or jagged. We can cheat all this other stuff because nobody's going to see it. but they will see the edges of this. So let me cap my glue. This is a big job. Time for some coffee. Okay, so as you look at this fabric, let's see, this is the front. As you look at this fabric, it has a selvage edge on it too. As you can see, it's way too big. But I'm going to keep that salvaged edge because I like it. Not sure what I'm going to do with it. So how big? I do have to measure. I'm going to say 5, 6, 8 6/8. So, where's my salvage edge? I need my bigger board. This is just... Oops, let's go this way. Oh, let me cut my salvage edge off first because I don't want to damage it. Not sure what I'm going to do with it, but I don't. I know, doesn't it? I thought it was perfect colors. I really liked it. What did I do with the ruler? You guys know what I did with the ruler? Gotta watch me. I want to make sure that I'm not going to cut off too much. Oh, I'm not. Okay. All right. Here I go with the eyeball thing and again. Got my handy dandy Fiskars rotary cutter. That puppy is sharp, as you will see. Okay, maybe you won't see. Oops, I moved my ruler. Voila. That didn't quite cut straight, did it? Definitely want that straight. I see where it should be. Evidently, my blade is a little dull. Okay. Saved my salvage strip. 1004. All right, so now I want this to be, what did I say, 8 6/8. So actually, let me flip this over so I'm marking on the back side where nobody can see it. I did have that down all the way, didn't I? Where's my dot? 8 6/8. Yes, I did. Perfect. Yep, that's what we want. Alrighty. Let me whack that off, and then we can see how much the other direction we want to cut off. Line that back up again. Okay. Make sure that's going to fit. All right. So now how much do we need to take off the other way? I'm thinking, is this the one that had middle thread? Nope. Okay. So I'm thinking probably about like that. See, I told you I don't measure. I just go, yeah, about that. How about that? Fabric scraps. Be really cute on the top of book tags. How cool would that be? That would match the inside of her book. Very, very sharp. Make sure that safety's on before I put it away. Don't grab it again. Hurt myself really, really bad. Get a bad boo-boo. All right, so if we did this right with my no measuring, let me pull these extra threads out of the way. If we did this right, it should fit just like, look at that, folks. Inside of her book. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so I'm just going to fold this back. Here we go with our handy dandy fabric tack glue. We just love this stuff. Not really. All right. And because this dries so fast, I am literally just going to do this in sections and keep rolling it back. Keep rolling it back. I hear my husband outside mowing. It's that time of year where everyone has to get out and mow. I love the smell of fresh cut grass. It smells so yummy. Not yummy to eat, just yummy to your senses. There's nothing like fresh cut grass. Oh, gotta make sure that's straight. Grab it before it. Okay. You almost got the spine done. Almost got the outside of the book done. Okay. Now I need a paintbrush, and I'm going to show you why. So let me grab a paintbrush. Or, there we go. That'll work. Right here on each side of the groove, you know, on a normal book, you have that groove. I don't know if I have one. I don't have one handy. Anyway, you have this groove right here. That is to give your book some give to open up easily. So we want to make sure that when we put this in, and I'm just going to do this little bitty bit right here so I can work on that groove before it dries. Oh, touched it wrong. Unforgiving stuff. Okay. Find that groove, and you'll feel it with your fingers. And just run the end of a paintbrush or bone folder or something like that into that groove to make sure that that fabric has a little ditch there to give it extra room to move. And when we get done, we'll flip the book over and we'll do that on the other side. But we had to do the side first. And then see, here's our other groove. So we're just going to work up to that point. And I don't do this with all of my books, all of my journals. If it's just a journal swap, I generally don't take the time. I think if you was going to sell your journals, and I see them go anywhere from $45 to $150, $200 for some of these books. They put lots of work into it, beading and lace, and I mean, it just goes on and on. But I think for a simple swap, and actually this wasn't a swap, but just for a simple journal that I'm not making any money off of or anything like that, I'm doing it for a friend. I do want it to be nice. But if I was doing one for a swap, I probably wouldn't go to all this extra work. I would do a paper cover and what have you. And the only thing bad about the paper covers, the cardstock covers, is that the sometimes the paper will crack. You know, if you've ever not used your, and even when you do use your score pad, mine went blank and I'm looking right at it. Sometimes even when you do use your score pad, your paper will still crack when it bends. So if you're doing something like a book, a journal for sale, or doing a forever book for a friend, you probably do want to put a nice fabric cover on it and go to the extra work. Whoops, went a little too far with that. Got a little happy with my glue. Okay. Well, we started going downhill something or other. So we've got some extra fabric. So we're just going to even it up. Bet you that wouldn't happen if I measure, huh? Come on, you want to say it. You know you do. Alrighty. So flip it over, find where those grooves are on this side. Give them a good pressing. Like so. And check it out. There is her cover. And my blue dot stayed exactly where I wanted. How did I have this? This is going to be the front because it didn't have no gold. This is the inside. And this had just a touch of gold. So the peacock is going to go right here on this front cover. And then the spine, I don't really think I'm going to do anything, decorate it in any way, put anything right here other than I have, I don't know what they're called, charm holders. I don't know what they're actually called. But it's these little bitty, looks like a door knocker, doesn't it? And it actually has a screw. Oops, there goes my book. Oh, am I not in frame? No, I'm not. Okay. This is what it is. It looks like a little door knocker. Her charms are going to go right there in that. Right there on that, I should say. Right there in that. It's going to go right there in that. Yep. English is my first language. And I don't see her tassel right now, but there's going to be a tassel. There's going to be some beads that are going there. But this here, and we'll use our crocodile to make a, can you see that there's a, wish I wouldn't that delay. All right, see, I'll have to make a hole for this. This will go in, and it actually fits in the back side of this. I'm going to call it a door knocker. It's a mini door knocker. Anyway, it actually screws in. And I can see already I might have problems putting it together again. Nope, there we go. And you can screw like this. It has a spot for a Phillips screwdriver to really tighten it in. And I will probably take some the Tombow glue to put inside there to kind of cinch it down. And this will go, let's see, this is her back. This will go about right there at the top of her spine. And then she'll have her charms, and there's a tassel that I made. Probably make a couple more tassels to put on it, some beads that will hang down. I don't want them to hang down, I don't think, any further than what this blue dot is. And then she's got some pretty gold. I don't know if that shows up. Some pretty gold. But anyway, this is where her door knocker is going to go. And I debated on stitching in all of her signatures before I put the fabric on. However, I think this is cool. This blue matches that blue. So there'll be 8 lines of stitches that's going to go along here. That's going to bring out the blue that's in the book, but it's also going to bring out the blue that's in the Peacock. And it's definitely something that kind of matches her stuff. So I decided that I wanted her stitching to be seen. I thought it would be pretty. So that needs to dry before I go jacking with it and moving it around and doing whatever. So I'm going to go take a break. I'll catch you all later. This will take probably, it still feels kind of damp. This will probably take about an hour to completely dry. And I'll keep coming back and pressing those ditches because I want those ditches to be there. Otherwise they get out of wonk like that right there. And I will come back in an hour and we'll put all the signatures in. Alrighty. So I'm going to sign off for now. Give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment if there's a question that you want me to answer before I go back on air again in an hour. And we'll see you guys in an hour. Bye.